What if I told you there's a tribe where sex isn't a private affair, but a sacred public ritual? A place where intimacy isn't hidden behind closed doors, but celebrated out in the open, as part of ancient tradition. In a remote corner of the world, one tribe holds public sex ceremonies, and not for the reasons you might think. This isn't just about shock value, it's about belief, identity, and centuries-old culture. So why do they do it? And what can we learn from a lifestyle so radically different from our own? To understand how a tribe could normalize public sex rituals, we need to travel deep into the heart of indigenous culture, far away from modern cities, technology, and Western norms. This tradition doesn't come from a place of exhibition or rebellion. It comes from ritual, fertility, and deep spiritual meaning. In tribes like the Trobriand Islanders of Papua New Guinea, sexual freedom is deeply embedded into their way of life. Here, sex isn't something taboo, it's something sacred, intertwined with birth, life, and community unity. But how did such a tradition begin? Centuries ago, before colonizers set foot on their land, tribal people didn't view sex as shameful or dirty. For them, it was part of the natural cycle of life, as normal as eating, sleeping, or hunting. Fertility rituals in public weren't about arousal. They were about blessing the land, ensuring survival, and calling upon the gods for a good harvest or strong offspring. And here's where things take an unexpected turn. In tribes like the Sambians of Papua New Guinea, young boys undergo a series of intense rituals before becoming men. These include public ceremonies involving semen exchange, which they believe transfers strength and knowledge. Outsiders may call it strange, even disturbing, but for the tribe, it's a sacred tradition passed down for generations. Why? Because in their worldview, manhood isn't biological, it's earned, taught, and spiritually infused through ritual. But not all public sex ceremonies are about initiation. In parts of the Amazon, such as the Mehinaku tribe, public sex was once considered a normal part of life. Before missionary influence and colonization, nighttime communal rituals involved music, dance, and open intimacy, believed to connect humans with their ancestors and nature spirits. Even marriage in these tribes is fluid. The concept of monogamy is alien. Some tribes practice partible paternity, meaning a child can have more than one biological father. This stems from the belief that multiple men's semen contributes to the child's strength and health. It might sound bizarre through a Western lens, but to them, it's about community responsibility and shared fatherhood. So what changed? Missionary campaigns and colonization brought Christian morality, suppression, and shame. Nudity was outlawed. Public rituals were banned. And many tribal people were forced to abandon the customs that had shaped their identity for centuries. But some traditions survived, hidden deep in the jungle or revived in modern forms. And here's the most fascinating part. Even today, in some tribes, ceremonial sex plays a role in healing. Certain African tribes believe that sex can cleanse spiritual energy. In these rituals, shamans guide couples in sacred unions to ward off illness or bad omens. This isn't casual or careless. It's performed with preparation, prayer, and purpose. Let's pause for a second. What if society hadn't taught us to see sex as dirty or secret? What if, like these tribes, we saw it as a spiritual act of life, energy, and connection? You might wonder, don't these traditions lead to jealousy, disease, or abuse? Good question. In many tribes, there are strict rules around these ceremonies. Consent is sacred. Elders supervise. And violating the ritual's sacred codes can lead to exile or punishment. It's not a free-for-all. It's structured, communal, and often tied to the calendar, agriculture cycles, or coming-of-age events. There's a reason these traditions have survived for centuries. They work within their cultural logic. And while modern media might sensationalize them, they're not about pleasure, they're about meaning. Some anthropologists argue that public sex ceremonies actually reduce violence, increase openness about relationships, and create deeper bonds within the tribe. Think about it. When something so powerful is shared and not hidden, it loses its taboo. It becomes a tool for unity, not control. And while many of these traditions are fading, they still echo in the hearts of the elders and the rituals they pass down. In our fast-paced world filled with shame, secrecy, and repression, could these ancient cultures hold the key to healthier intimacy? It's not about copying them. It's about learning how differently humans can live, and still find balance, respect, and connection. The real question is, who decides what's normal? From remote villages in the South Pacific to hidden corners of the Amazon, public sex ceremonies are a reminder that the human experience is vast, varied, and full of wisdom we've barely scratched the surface of. Their way isn't better or worse, just different. And maybe that's what makes it worth understanding. Thanks for watching. If you found this story eye-opening, give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into fascinating stories from around the world. Drop a comment below. What are your thoughts on this tribe's traditions? Do you think society can learn something from it? I'd love to hear your perspective.